Do you have an online course, an online coaching, or an online mentoring program where you're struggling to keep your clients motivated? Are you struggling to get the follow through and also struggling to help them get the outcomes that they really want? It can be super challenging in real life, in face-to-face interactions, to keep people motivated and to get them to complete what it is we're trying to get them to do. But when we go online, there are some very, very unique challenges. And that's what I'm going to help you with today. Is I'm going to give you 3 proven ways to help your clients. Some of this can also apply to in-person, but specifically when you're working with your online clients, to get them motivated, to keep them motivated, to help them achieve the goals and be happy and successful. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Erica Boling, and if you are a fitness, a wellness, a healthcare, or an adventure professional looking to grow your online business so that you can have the freedom and the flexibility to live life on your terms, this is the place for you to be. This is Fit, Free, and Fearless. So I've been doing online teaching and learning and helping people do online programs, online teaching and coaching and mentoring for a few decades now. One of the things that I'm seeing over and over again, and this is not just in online programs, but in teaching in general, is a lot of times people are just just telling their clients, do this. And what I find, number one, is that's not the most successful way to actually get changes in behavior, changes in habits in your clients. In general, just as good teaching practice, there's so much more that you can do to actually get them to follow through. So one of the things, even though I've been teaching this for a lot of years, helping a lot of people do it, one of the most transformative experiences for me was when I took an online course as a client. And there were different things along the way that I found really motivated me to get through the programs. I have one program I'm thinking of right now. It was a nutrition program. I paid $1,500 to do this online course. And I lasted for just a couple weeks, and probably not even an eighth of the way or quarter of the way into the program, I stopped. To this day, it's been over a year and a half. I've still not gone in. And then I took another online program. This was one that taught boxing and how to teach boxing. And this course, I was so excited. I dove in the first day. I spent a number of months going through the course. I went through 3 different levels. I graduated. I was super motivated and so happy with that program. So, what's the difference? What was the difference between that online coaching program with boxing versus the online nutrition program? What's the difference between when I'm working with clients who actually get super excited, they're super excited with the outcomes, they do what they set to achieve and have life transformational changes? So the first strategy is mindful reflection. It sounds simple, and it is. It's not hard to do, but I'm amazed at how many people that don't do this. The idea is that you prompt with questions and activities to get your clients to be thoughtful and self-reflective and ask and answer questions to themselves throughout the learning and coaching process. This can be done one-on-one, but you can also build these kind of self-reflective questions and prompts into an online pre-recorded program. And it's super powerful. And why does it work? Number one is it takes what you're learning, it gives them time to really have it personalized and really resonates with them on a very personal level. And it also gets them motivated. It makes it so that they are more self-directed. They can take more control of that learning process as they're going through the program and learning from you. And we know that when people are more reflective, when people are more kind of self-directed, we know that that increases motivation. And when they're more motivated as they're going through your programs, they're also going to be happier, more content as a client. They're more likely to follow through and get the results that they want. So that self-reflective kind of thought-provoking questions that you can just insert, and you don't have to do a lot. It can be just 1 or 2 questions periodically as they're going through an online program or as they're working with you coaching one-on-one. Let me give you some examples, and there's so many different ways you can do this, but there are some general questions. Like I said, they're super easy to do. Also, even when I'm doing like an online webinar or a Facebook Live, a live training, if you have an audience logged in, these are questions also that you can do when you have a big audience. And even if you're not going to respond directly one-on-one, just simply asking the questions and having them think about and reflect upon it, you can have them share or not share, is a very, very, very powerful strategy. Okay, so ultimately, usually when we're working with people, we're wanting to get them to change their thoughts, their beliefs, their practices, their habits. We're looking for change. So one simple question that I like to use, I have a list here I'm going to share with you, is on a scale to 1 to 10, how did it go? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you now? And this is great because you can have just a real quick response if you're interacting with a group of people. Also, if they're just reflecting on their own, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can say number 10 is, I'm super, super motivated to make that change in my life. Okay, why? And that's another thing, is a lot of people don't ask enough of the question, why? And the why is going to tap into kind of their why. Why is it so important? What's that, that personal thing that's driving them? So that's one question I use a lot. Another very simple thing to do is to ask something like, what would you do differently? So reflecting back on the week, reflecting back on what you learned, what's your typical day-to-day? What's going well? What's not going well? What would you like to change and why? And then also, what would you do differently? So another thing is to help them celebrate their successes. So you might say, okay, what's not going well? What would you like to do differently? But also tell me one small success that you had this week. One small success, what are you celebrating today? Why is that important to you, right? How did you make that happen? So just framing those questions and throwing it back to them so that they can stop and reflect. And one thing that I find a lot of times when people are going through a program and doing anything over time is frequently they don't see those small incremental bits of success. And when you can acknowledge those small pieces, those small stepping stones of success, that can be super, super motivating to take them to the next level. So periodically, you can just integrate it right into the course. You can have it after each lesson. You can just be 1 to 3 questions that just pop up. And the idea is to get them self-reflective. Another thing that I like to do is I will have people submit videos. And what I like to do is to have them videotape maybe themselves, videotape something they want feedback on. Then what I'll do, like in a 1-to-1 session, or you can also, have it as a homework assignment, but I will say, okay, do that video recording and now watch the video and tell me what's happening right here. What's going on? What do you notice? What do you like? What do you not like? What would you change? What would you do differently? And that can be super, super powerful. The power of video and using video for that self-reflection can be one of the most powerful things that you can do online. So the second strategy to motivate your clients is through gamification. Now, a lot of people, when they first think about gamification, they think about a lot of extrinsic rewards, which does help motivate a lot of people. So extrinsic things like points and certificates and awards, right? Doing things like online challenges. But here's the thing is gamification is much more than just, here's your medal, here's your certificate. The power with gamification and having them, doing challenges and achieving the next stepping stone, it's very powerful feedback for them. And if you can structure it, the best way to do it is so that they can achieve those stepping stones along the way, and it doesn't take forever for them to see that success. So the more that they can feel successful, that they can experience and celebrate that success, that will also build in that internal, intrinsic drive and motivation to keep going. So those online challenges, things, leaderboards. Now, here's the thing. Some people get super motivated competing against others. But do know that for some people, that kind of competing and looking at where they are in relation to others, that might be something that motivates them. But the thing is with gamification is you're going to have those kind of markers along the way, right? The feedback are, where are you on the leaderboard? Are you number 4? Are you number 5? Are you bumped to number 1? If you're trying to strive to have a higher level of your own skill set, are you able to offer, different certificates or awards or that medal in the mail, right? Some kind of special recognition can be super, super motivating. Now, in the online course that I took, they did this in a couple different ways. Number 1 is when you completed each module, you would get a follow-up email kind of celebrating. And then also you would have sometimes the next section that would open up, there would be some kind of bells and whistles, some extra perks, some extra content special for you. Then also what would happen is there were 3 different levels that you could achieve, and they had a private Facebook group for each level. So it was kind of like a badge of success, right? When you would get through level 1 and like, oh, you're finally accepted and invited into that Facebook group that was for the people who were certified with that level 1. And then when you reached to the level 2, you got into the next Facebook group that was just with the level 2 people. Another thing that they did with the online course was whenever I got to the next level, and when you graduated from level 1 or level 2, you would have a special bonus section of the course open up with all kinds of great content and useful resources. It was kind of like a celebration and like a free bonus that you would get for going to the next level. Also, we got certificates. So whenever you would go to the next phase, when you would accomplish the next level, you would get a nice certificate and a digital certificate in your email. And you could print it out and, use it if you're a professional. You could put it on your website. So there were different things built in all along the way, either from module to module or level 1, level 2, level 3. So that concept of having different levels of achievement, different certifications, right? Getting different, medals along the way. These are all things that reflect that gamification strategy. If you can find ways to acknowledge it, to reward it, to celebrate it, and however you do it, giving shout outs, giving a certificate, giving levels of certifications, these can truly be very, very motivating. So yes, you can, get that certificate, you can get that email of acknowledgement, but it's the incremental celebrations of success that makes you feel good and gives you that sense of, I can do this. I'm ready. I'm going to go to the next step. So gamification is a really, really great way to go and really give a boost to your online programs. And there's a lot of software programs now for online courses and online memberships, and they're building some of this gamification right into the platforms. So if you're not currently doing that, I highly encourage you to check it out. So the third strategy, the third way to get your online clients motivated and to help them achieve success in your program is by building a sense of community. And as you know, there's a million different ways that you can do this. Facebook communities, you can have people on the WhatsApp chat. There's also communities built into online platforms. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but building a community can be a really, really great way to keep people motivated. Number one is you can model the types of beliefs and practices and give examples. They can learn and get motivated from seeing other people successful. It's also a great way to celebrate, to acknowledge successes, let them celebrate. If you're using gamification and they've reached the next level, to go in and give shout outs and support each other. Is a really great way to do that is through these online communities. Now, a couple challenges I would say, it can be challenging if you've ever tried to do an online community, is engagement, right? So one of the things, if you're going to do an online community, you want to have some consistency. You want people to feel like they're being heard, right? So whether you're in there posting and sharing, whether you have a virtual assistant in there engaging and responding, and also building that sense of community with the clients, I find that usually it doesn't happen naturally. Usually you have to build in some structures and do some kind of model that type of practice and the type of engagement that you want. So what I do is I kind of coach my clients into how to support each other. So one of the things is when people join our community, I always introduce them. I ask them to introduce themselves. I'll give a shout out. I would encourage you to have them share photos, share videos. It's going to help them make that more personal connection with each other. And what I do is I set the expectation in my community, my online community, is that we welcome each other. And when I introduce somebody, I want other people in there engaging. I want them to support each other. And what I do is I will tell them that. And whenever we have group calls, I'll say, thank you so much for welcoming our new members. That really meant a lot. Sometimes I even have people, if there's not like a lot of activity, I have kind of some of my star clients, I might message and say, hey, it's a little quiet in there. Let's go and make sure that we support each other. So just setting up the community and just putting some posts in there, it doesn't always take off or maintain that energy. So just know that sometimes setting the expectation, talking about the community, letting people know how valuable and how much you appreciate when they support each other, when they're commenting on each other, let them know that you see it, you appreciate, others see it and appreciate it, because the fastest way to get that community to shut down is to just kind of disappear for a while. When people do post, for them not to feel like they've been seen or heard, like that's not good. Like the last thing you want to do is have somebody sharing and posting and then there's no acknowledgement, no reply. Like that's one of the fastest ways to shut that community down. So having an online community, I think is really, well, I know is a really powerful way to motivate people. But you have to have that engaged community. You have to have that safe space. You have to also let people know when they first join, what's the rules of engagement. So I know some people in online communities, they'll say, listen, if somebody's struggling and they need help and direction, like that comes from me. Right. And they might say in a community, I don't want you telling other people like how to do things. Right. Other communities, like for me, I like it when my clients kind of mentor and support each other. But I build that into my program, and I teach them and I talk to them about how to support other people and what kinds of feedback to help each other to be successful. So whichever way you want to do it and how much you'll let them bring in, say, outside information, like you set kind of the rules of engagement, but making it clear from the beginning, it has to be a place where they feel safe, where, there's no stupid question, no wrong way to respond. And you want to basically really set that tone. But if you can set the tone, be engaged, be authentic, be yourself, be supportive, or have somebody else. It could be a virtual assistant or somebody else in there. But I will say that communities, it does take some energy, of course, and some time to do that, to build the prompts, to respond, to acknowledge, but it comes back tenfold. It really, if you can build that community, people always say, people will come and sign up for a program for the content, but they stay for the community. And especially if you're trying to do a membership program where people are in there for the long term, and you want people to stay in, a community is the way to get people to stay and to get people to really invest personally in the program. If it's a program where you kind of have like a begin and an end date, it's not ongoing, maybe it's a short-term type program, definitely having that community and any sense of a community can be very, very motivating. Now, I will say this, you don't have to be in there live all the time. You don't have to be investing a whole bunch of one-on-one time in order to help build that community. Things that help frame a community is building that personal connection. You can also start building that sense of community by just having more of that human presence online. So it could be, people introducing themselves and you introducing yourselves with video, with audio, sharing that personal side. But any way that they can connect with each other, connect with you on the human side, that helps to build community. So whether it's a live online discussion forum, whether you're meeting for live group calls, or whether you're doing some pre-recorded content where they can see you, they can hear you, they can see each other, they can hear each other on that very human, personal level, that's a way how you can start building community in your online programs. And when you build that community, it's highly motivating and it can work to get your clients to stay involved, to be motivated, and help them so that they achieve the goals that they set out for whenever they signed up. So there you go, 3 strategies, proven strategies. If you can implement them, I promise you will get more motivated clients. You will have a higher success rate in people completing your programs. So number 1 is that self-reflective questioning, easy ways to bring it right into your program. It could just be 1 to 3 questions you just kind of sprinkle out throughout the program, or if you're doing feedback one-on-one. So that self-reflective practice. Number 2, gamification, right? Building in gamification. Remember, it's not just all the bells and whistles, but it's helping them see that incremental steps and celebrating those incremental steps of success. Super, super motivating. And number 3 is building in that online community. It can be live group calls. It could be having that collaborative Facebook group, but it also could be something as simple as some pre-recorded content that gives people the possibility and the opportunity to connect on a very human level, to connect with you and with each other. So hope this was helpful. If you have other strategies that you like doing that you find have been super successful in motivating your clients online, please share and stay tuned for more tips, strategies, and resources for learning how to grow your online program so that you can have that freedom and flexibility to live life on your terms and follow your passions. Thank you for watching or listening, and be sure to follow so you can be notified instantly when we have our next episode posted and heading your way.